Shout out to KP for that beat.
We're here at MMX 8. I'm Bennie Smith Jr. and I got the guy that's responsible for putting all this great stuff together. Martin Atkins, how you doing today, sir?
I'm really good. It's nice to see you, Benny.
Yeah, man. So how do you, 8? We're at 8. How do you feel?
It's interesting, actually. I'm still walking around going, we could do this. We could do this differently. We could do this better. I think it's time to move away from just being happy that the students did it, which is wild. It's amazing that they did it.
Yeah.
But what could this be? What could this be for Decatur? And it will be more for the students and for the community and for Millikin. So that's where I'm at now. When we moved 14 of the artists to LSB, that made me remember the Oakwood Festival that used to happen over there. Yeah. And that neighborhood over there, with people out on the street, and so it's kind of put me in a mood. I'm happy. We dealt with all of the rain and all the changes. Yeah. I'm really proud of my students, and this will be something they remember
for sure
forever.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, but let's think about number 9 and what are we going to do?
It's good that you put the students in real life situations because, when you're doing production, especially outside or putting on events, sometimes you run into things that are unforeseen. You don't know if it's going to happen or not, so you got to make adjustments. How has the kids or how has the students been, adjusting? How are their moods?
It really varies with, everybody's different. Some students are more experienced with stress. Some students really, it's overwhelming. Yeah. So we need to be careful. But they all, in their own way, get different levels of experience. If this is their first, maybe they're over with the merch booth, dealing with people, helping to set up, getting used to the idea that this is a whatever it takes business. Yep. And then some of them, like Austin, for instance, one of our students ran the stage at 15 by 15. So I'm like, okay, remember 15 by 15? Yeah. Well, there's going to be 2 of those happening at the same time with speakers and axe throwing. Yeah. So I think each student can find a different level for themselves. I try and be conscious of that. And they all come out of it with something very useful. What's really important is I call them autopsies, which is a terrible name. The learning session after this, we might have 1 or 2 where we sit and reflect. What did you do? What could you have done better? And then this thing that I do that I like, I have them write a note to the next incoming students with advice.
Oh, that's smart.
It's not like, what did you do right or wrong? What could you have done better? It's like, what advice would you give to a student coming into this? Yeah. And that gives them a way to think about it.
Okay. And you call it autopsies, is what you call it.
Yeah, it's an autopsy.
Coming from a punk rocker, I think that's acceptable. That's okay. Yeah. I probably would call it like game film or the review session or something like that.
Yeah, there you go. The review session. The autopsy.
That would scare me to go into class. Yeah, so briefly, tell me, how did all this come about?
The whole idea of MMX?
Yes.
Well, so I'm always trying to think, how can I make the class come alive? So when we look at contracts, I bring in 24 donuts, and before the students can eat the donut, they have to find 3 words in the contract: perpetuity, notwithstanding the foregoing, and something else. And so I'm torturing students. They've got to find these words and take a photograph before they can eat the donut. But now we're 20 minutes into the legal class, and that makes things different. Yeah. I was in Topics in Music Business class 7 years ago, and it was this topic, that each week a different topic. Okay. I'm like, you know what? We could have, each one of these topics could be a panel, at a conference. So let's do that.
Yeah.
So they changed the class into having these panels, and then we added the bands.
Yeah.
We added the pedal exchange.
Yeah.
The vendor booths started to reach out into the community, and here we are.
And here we are.
Yeah.
8 years.
And you've done, is this 5?
I think 4.
Okay.
4.
But the
4
one
for
in
sure.
Chicago
It's-
last year.
well, I guess 5.
Yeah.
I've been at 5 MMX, man. I feel good. You know what? And what I can say, I've seen the growth of MMX. You know, it really wasn't, I mean, you know, we have people, and even despite the rain that's happening right now, it's still a lot of people coming in here.
Yeah. And it's a learning experience for everybody. We had a band. We went from 7 a.m. till 9:30 last night. I'm sitting on the couch here. We got an email from a band. How many more times are you going to change things? We're getting angry.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I'm like, well, then don't play.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know. I was really short. They were young. They apologized, and then I apologized to them.
Yeah.
But it's this learning environment.
Yeah.
Where, thank goodness, they made that mistake with us, and they didn't make it at the Devon Amphitheater
I know,
or
right.
somewhere else, because that would be the last time.
Yeah,
that
that'll be
they
the
would
last
do it.
time. Yeah.
So it's good for everybody. You get this community mindset. Everybody's helping. The LSB helping. Everybody helping to pull this thing off. You know.
Yeah, so what would you say, like, the highlight of today? Has there been a highlight for you yet? I got to ask you that later on, maybe.
No, I've got one.
Okay.
But the reason I paused is it's like when I was second guessing myself
Okay.
at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock this morning. Did we do the right thing pulling the quad stage? And then it started to rain. And I was happy that it rained because if the sun had come out, everybody would have been coming up to me saying, "What did you do?
Yeah, exactly.
What were you thinking?"
Exactly.
And so I think then people are like, "Wow, you did the right thing." The bands get to play, and it's chaos, but all of the students get to put this in their resume.
Yeah.
You know, and they're going to get asked that question: how would you deal with the unexpected? And they can just go, "Ah, we did MMX 8 in the rain."
In the rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, so MMX 9, are you looking forward to that right now? You starting to plan already or what?
Yeah, I mean, I was just at LSB, standing in a venue that serves pizza and beer, telling people over the microphone, "You should come to the Commons. There's a panel on legal issues."
Yeah.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
that was a losing battle from the get-go. I think next year I'm thinking Friday is the conference, Saturday is all the bands.
Oh, okay.
And maybe the bands don't get to play unless they show us the stamps that they've been to 4 panels.
Definitely.
So they're growing their knowledge base.
Yes.
And then it's all music on a Saturday. Maybe we'll do that. I'm just kicking that around at the moment.
I really like how you really integrate the educational piece, because by far that's the most important for anybody who want to be in the music business. So a continuance of congratulations from me, from Suite 704.
Thank you.
Because you always do good things. Thanks for coming to the community and making an impact.
And you're always there helping us. And I loved that you came up to Chicago.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite panels. You were on a panel with Jesse from Dark Matter Coffee.
Yes.
And the guys who run the Remover.
Who
else was on that panel?
I think it was just us. It was 4. It was
Was
a
it
husband
Jim?
and wife team. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a great panel.
It was a great panel, man, about building community, and that's really what we're doing today, building community, having something that people can actually look forward to. And I think MMX is one of those things that should be a staple. I'll do whatever I can to make sure we just keep it going and add whatever we need to it or take away. You let me know. You just let me know what we got to do, and we're definitely going to be there.
All right. Thanks, Benny. I appreciate it.
Did you like this video? Cool. Well, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and stick around. We got plenty of more where that came from.